So it takes us out. We're nearly there at the end now. So we're going now into the third level colleges and universities, and this is a very very interesting section because first of all, I don't really know that much about it, but what I do know is that whenever myself and Eamon or myself have been to these games, they're extremely well organised and the facilities are off the charts. So the universities, colleges, and technical institutions, or there's a few different things. They also there's kind of some unique features about them, and I think I'll let Eamon he kind of knows them really really well, but they because of their you know there's a whole kind of world league and everything. There's huge opportunities to play in these tournaments for in third level football. For example, the current UCC women's team have qualified to play in the I think it's the European Universities Futsal Championships, and they're going to be going over there to play in the futsal. And I was researching these European Universities Futsal, and it's the guy that was given the prize was Infantino, the FIFA president. So the university football or college football is an incredibly well organised and well funded, if you call it an affiliate, right, or organisation. It's connected globally, and it is becoming now a really good route, a pathway for players to consider, not just in terms of the universities and colleges in Ireland, but also abroad. Football can pave the way to provide you with a very, very good education in some of the top universities around the world, and some of those top universities are here in Ireland. But it's growing all the time. I visited some of the centres recently. I was over in UCD, and I noticed that there was no futsal goals. So this is one of the problems in Ireland, is that we have all these indoor facilities, but no futsal goals, and that's just a barrier to the sport itself. And many of the goals as well are just white; they're not the striped colours that you would see abroad. But anyway, that's on my own little gripe. But third level universities and colleges are very very well organised football league systems and competitions that really provide you an incredible football journey if you choose to go that way. Now, one of the most interesting things that I came across this year was the primary and secondary school. Well, more specifically the primary school, because I haven't had experience in the secondary school, but I will touch on it a small bit here. The primary schools, I remember playing in primary school, and we only ever played Gaelic. And I remember Gaelic and hurling, it was brilliant. I remember playing in Croke Park a few times, and it was just incredible memories. So as my young children were going through primary school, I noticed that they were starting to play football. So this year, my daughter, my middle child, she played in both a five-a-side tournament where they got into the kind of finals, the semi-final of the Dublin Championship or whatever, out in Abbottstown, and they also got to the final of the Dublin Junior Cup in the 11-a-side. And this was eye-opening for me because, I'm only kind of learning the whole grassroots system, because when you play in it, or when you play in a particular field, you only ever see it from one perspective. So I just thought it was incredible. An incredible product delivered from the FAI schools. And, it was quite amazing that the five-a-side didn't even have a sponsor. But, I'm a firm proponent that, I would, it's better to have 10 sponsors than to have one big sponsor. in my own personal opinion. It's better because you can actually go local into all the different communities and work with the schools and their own communities. And you open up relationships. So you use the product of football, but you use that product at a local level. So you're creating business relationships through the teams that are participating. And that's where the value is, because um, the bigger companies only really look at it as, almost a charity type thing, but local businesses see it as much as opportunities for exposure. So there's ways of there's different ways of skinning a cat there, but I have to say that the FAI schools primary section anyway is an absolutely brilliant product for anyone thinking that they can go in and help out. I just think personally that there's better ways of commercializing that for the benefit of everybody. But that is a superb product. And when I was doing a bit of research on the FAI schools, and when I learned that 43% of the competitors in the FAI schools 5-side were girls. 43%. So I mean, that's fairly amazing, and so women's football is just going to explode. And this is one of the concerns that I have moving forward, is we even if we had all the facilities in the world, we still need volunteers. So even if we had everything perfect, we would be significantly short of volunteers. And at the end of the day, it's the coaches that make the difference. It's the people that pick that get involved with a team as they're coming out of an academy at 8-9 years of age, and choose to be involved with those players and commit to them. They are the people that make things happen. And obviously the people that are currently volunteers that can actually move into club management and administration, because it's very, very difficult. The committees are getting older and older all the time, and unless there's people getting involved, and at the volunteer section, it's all down to people getting involved. So if we can scream for facilities all we want, but at the end of the day, it's the most important thing really is people putting their shoulder to the wheel. Now, before moving away from FAI schools, I wanted to touch on secondary, because I was completely unaware, and I'd love to hear from anybody who can fill me in on this. But at the recent FAI conference at the Aviva Stadium, I was talking to one of the representatives who was dealing with the FAI school section, and he told me that they have almost, now this is what I heard, 90% of the schools, secondary schools, playing football they have producing football teams. Now, if this is the case, I'd really like that to know if that's really true. I mean, I'm sure it's true, but is he just counting a certain? I'd love to find out more about that. And the FAI schools will be certainly a big thing on our agenda in the coming year at Striker Online. Definitely something to watch out for. You can see. Another thing to before I move away from this, I also noticed just the amount of schools from the countryside that did so well in these tournaments. So when you looked at the finals, it was by no means the bigger schools are the ones with the biggest catchment areas. It was really, really interesting to see that. So FAI schools is something to really look out for and be involved with. It's going to grow all the time. Now, before moving on, the Defence Forces. So I came across the Defence Forces. So this is obviously the Irish Army, and they have, I think they're called battalion leagues. So they have internal leagues, and then they obviously have they kind of the very best players are chosen, and they can actually represent Ireland in the Defence Force, and in fact get a cap. Remember, many of the affiliates many of the organisations, even the Football for All, they have like proper FAI caps that are given out. So the Defence Forces, as far as I know, is an actual recognised cap. And one of the interesting things when I looked through all the photographs, the archives of photographs that Eamon has over the last 40 years, one of the things that I see is and the defence forces and the different games they have with England and Northern Ireland and all this, and it's actually quite interesting to see that, considering considering the troubles and just kind of political situation and things like that in the past. So it's kind of interesting to look at it that way. Now, the League of Ireland, well, we all know about that. Huge growth in the League of Ireland. It's great to see super stuff being done online. As we can see here, 44,000 followers of the League of Ireland in their Facebook. Incredible work being done by loads and loads of the clubs there. Everybody seems to be raising their games from facilities of the stadiums. The crowds are going there. It's lovely to see. It's brilliant, and I suppose a huge part of that has to be the energy that's been infused into it by the women coming into the game, and just all this kind of energy helps to raise things. But this is a good example here of the branding element. So the League of Ireland Premier and First Division is branded in a particular way, and then the women's section is branded in a particular way, and then obviously the LOI Academy and EA Sports, SEC Electricity. So it allows for different companies to get involved at these levels. So great work being done at the League of Ireland, and it's brilliant. It's brilliant to see and exciting. I bring my son to a few matches, and it's down at Shelburne. It's brilliant, and my old school friend, not friend, but he was in my school, Damien Duff, is doing great work there, and he's also making a little bit of noise online as well, which is what you need. You need people to stir it up a little bit, and so I want to finish off with this area where I am not able to get as much information. Well, I could get, but I do know, for example, that the Mini Football Association has one big player which is called Inter Sevens. They have 130 teams, with over 1,500 players. And the interesting thing about Inter Sevens is the business model. They're a refless type of football, which is played on a big kind of Astro type pitch, cut into 4 rectangular pitches, and it lends itself to an amazing standard of football. Promotion, relegation, extremely well organised. They've been going for about 12 to 15 years down there. Very socially responsible, real social entrepreneurship in action there, and they've helped to fund an awful lot of the projects and teams in the areas close to them, and they have strong connections into the corporates, into the Facebooks, the Googles, the LinkedIns, and the different. So they would be like a little bit like the Cork Business League, except they do 7-a-side, and they're very good at doing 7-a-side. And in fact, the Mini Football Association also has, not only do they do amazing prizes and fantastic tournaments, and they're now growing across the country, but they also arrange for 6-a-side teams to play in international competitions. And in fact, they're organising a team. They have a team, and that's going to the 6-a-side World Cup in Dubai. So this is a proper World Cup for 6-a-side teams in Dubai, happening, I think it's the end of October. So great work being done in here. We never really hear much about it because it's not really, within the FAI's kind of umbrella. However, they represent an incredible amount of players. In fact, and it's something I'm going to be doing just to try and find out a little bit more about exactly how many players are playing 5, 6, 7-a-side football in Astro Parks and different places that are set up to play. So many of them are completely unregulated. They're just groups of friends, but a huge percentage of them are also leagues. So promotion relegation leagues, and quite serious. Some of them use referees. So it's an interesting area, and I think it's important to kind of compile it to get a sense of the entire grassroots landscape. So the entire grassroots landscape is there in front of you. I may be missing some things. I may be missing some affiliates. I may be missing some of my data mightn't be exactly right, but I can guarantee you that this is the most up to date information that's available regarding the Irish grassroots football in our country, or now in the world, because it's an area that I've been, you know, researching a lot over the last 2 years, trying to understand how it's made up, the various opportunities that lie within grassroots football, and the problems that it has, as well as the opportunities. And it's where these problems that it has that the opportunities lie.